Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Blevin Robinson with West Coast Cajun Cuisine, and today's video, Crawfish Boudin Balls. All right, we're going to start off by getting our vegetables prepped. And the key to this is to have a small dice. You don't want big chunks of vegetables in your boudin balls. It just doesn't work out very well. So we're going to go ahead and cut this up to a nice small dice. And as you can see here, I have the Holy Trinity of Cajun cooking: a yellow onion, a green bell pepper, some celery. We're going to add some green onion to this, some garlic. We're going to add some fresh herbs. So just go ahead and give everything a nice small dice. As you can see, I took those celery stalks and just kind of cut them into little strips and then diced them. This green onion, what we're going to do is chop this up. I probably ended up with about a half a cup of green onion. I'm going to take half of that, put it to the side for later, and then we're going to take the other half and saute it with these vegetables. All right. So once we get our vegetables prepped, what we're going to do is get a frying pan, heat it up to a medium heat. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of butter and then a tablespoon of olive oil. Now, I want to add that olive oil because it's going to help keep the butter from burning. All right, so that's why I'm doing a half and half style here. The butter is for flavor, olive oil is to help the butter from burning. And then we're going to add our vegetables and saute them for about 8 minutes. I want them to get nice and soft, get those onions nice and translucent. And after about 8 minutes or so, what we're going to do is add our fresh herbs. Now, I have probably about 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme and 2 teaspoons of fresh oregano, and then added half of those green onions. Now, if you're going to use dried herbs, cut that recipe in half, okay? Dried herbs are a little bit stronger than your fresh herbs. Now I'm going to add a little bit of seasoning to these vegetables. All right, this is my normal Cajun seasoning blend if you're familiar with the channel, and if not, that's okay. I'm going to leave that recipe down in the description box below. Use whatever Cajun seasoning you like. It's all good, or just salt and pepper, whatever tickles your fancy. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon or so of fresh chopped garlic, okay? Give this a nice mix. Let that garlic cook down just a little bit, maybe a minute, 2 minutes at the most. And then this is where we're going to get a little fancy with it, okay? I'm going to add a cup of white wine. I'm going to take this wine and I'm going to reduce it down about 85%, almost to a syrup-like consistency. We want to reduce this down so that we can concentrate these flavors. And what you'll see here after about 5 minutes on a medium simmer is that you can still see the bubbles, but when you run the spoon through, it leaves a nice clean trail before that liquid starts to cover it up. All right. Now from here, I'm going to add the crawfish. Now these crawfish are already cooked, so we just want to warm them through. If you cook them too long, they get all mushy, and that's just nasty. All right. So let's go ahead and just give this a nice mix. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give these a rough chop. I got this cool little knife that my wife bought me when she went to Alaska a few years ago. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is because when I put those frozen crawfish in there, they have some like residual liquid, some juice in there. And that's just going to intensify that flavor. I want that juice in there. All right. That's why I did it this way. If it's easier for you, go ahead and strain it. Chop your crawfish up on a board. You just want a rough chop though. Some, whole tails and some chopped tails. That's kind of how I like it. You do it to, whatever your personal preference is, all right? Now I'm going to add the rest of the seasoning to this mixture. I'm going to give it a nice mix, make sure everything's well incorporated. I have the heat turned off at this point. I have about 2 cups of white rice cooking on the side. Once I get this all nice and well mixed, we're going to set this to the side and just let it cool off for about 15-20 minutes or so, all right? Now after it's cooled off some, we're going to transfer it to this bowl, and then I'm going to add the rice. Now I'm using long grain Jasmine rice. It's just what I prefer. I just find that it works best for this recipe, so that's what I'm using. You use whatever rice you like, okay? Now I'm just kind of eyeballing in here. I probably only ended up using 3/4 of the rice that I cooked. Probably, 2 cups of rice. I mean, I know I cooked 2 cups, but once you cook it, it fluffs up and everything. So I probably only used, a cup and a half to 2 cups of actually cooked rice. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with boudin, boudin is a rice sausage. Okay, you usually make it with pork, and if you're interested in seeing how to make actual boudin sausage, I'll leave a card up here in the corner so you can check out a video I did on just that. All right. Now from here, what we're going to do is add some freshly chopped parsley, probably about a tablespoon, and then the rest of those green onions that I saved earlier. Now look, what you're not going to see here is I took a half a cup of those panko breadcrumbs and crushed them up till they were nice and fine. Added them to this mixture. Added a half a cup of chicken stock to this as well, and then about a quarter cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And what that's going to do is help this all bind together. So when you start forming this into little balls, if you don't add those extra ingredients, it's just going to fall apart on you, okay? So I have probably about 2 ounces or so of that mixture that I formed into a little ball here. And you can see my breading station. I have a cup and a half of all-purpose flour, and I put about 2 teaspoons of that Cajun seasoning in there. Then I have 2 eggs that I beat with about a tablespoon of hot sauce, and then just some regular panko breadcrumbs. And so we're going to go from the flour to the egg to the panko, and then just make sure it's just well coated. And then I'm going to set this to the side on a baking sheet until I get all of that mixture formed in and coated into these little balls. All right. So in the meantime, I had some canola oil heating up to 350 degrees. All right. And I'm just going to add maybe, 4 or 5 at a time. I don't want to overcrowd, the pot here, because you're just going to drop the temperature of your oil down a little too rapidly. We don't want to do that. We want to get a nice golden brown crispy crust on the outside of these balls, because the inside's already cooked. So basically this is what you're doing right here, just making the outside all nice and delicious, as you see here. Now when they're done, literally only took maybe 5 minutes. Transfer them over to a plate with a paper towel so that they can drain, and then we're going to plate it up. Now what I did was I made a remoulade sauce, okay? And if you are interested in making this kind of sauce, which goes excellent with these crawfish boudin balls, I'll leave another little card up here so you can check out a video I did making that sauce. Now I went ahead and cut one in half so you can kind of see what it looks like. Super, super delicious. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, crawfish boudin balls. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought. And next week, I'm going to show you how to take a cheap chuck roast and cook it into something so delicious, it's going to blow you away. I promise you that. If you want to make sure you catch that video, go ahead and click that subscription button and that notification bell so you don't miss it. And while you're here, check out one of the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you there.